Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we've got a dynamic duo on the channel. Bottles that I've never had. I've been wanting to get some Pursuit. These are double oaked and double oaked picks from Kevin at S&W. Let's get it.
Bottle drop, bottle drop, bottle drop.
I've been wanting to get Pursuit on the channel for a while now. Kevin had a great video. Shout out to my man Brad. They went down, him and quite a few other folks went down to Kentucky. They did some picks at Pursuit United. I watched the video on the DMV Bourbon Society group on Facebook. I love the footage. I might try and get some up on the screen depending on, copyrights and things like that. So we'll have to do some talks, but they picked some double oaks, and Ryan, told them how he came about even trying to do double oaks, which he said he was trying to mimic that old granddad, which I find that crazy. So we are blessed to get some double oak because he was trying to mimic old granddad. Now, he went through a whole bunch of things he did. If you want to watch the video, you can join the group, the Facebook, the DMV Bourbon Society 2.0. You can join that group and you can watch that video. But I can't wait to give you guys my review because, like I said, I've never had any Pursuit. I trust Kevin's palate. They've always had great picks, have not let me down yet. You know me, if you are a fan of this channel, I like to go into my ryes first. I don't like to go rye to bourbon because I think it adds this weird twang on it. But then I did it the night that I got them home because I wanted to crack them, and it actually didn't have any effect. So let's get into the rye first anyway. I'll be taking a little break in between. I'll give you my nose and nose, tasting notes. We'll get into the breakdown, and then I'll give you whether or not I think they're worth the chase. All right, so let's get into the rye first. Definitely a rye on the nose. Now, they do give you a breakdown. So let me give you the breakdown of the rye. So they give you a breakdown. Right now, I don't know the ages that are in here, but in the rye, you've got 60% of a Sagamore. This is a 52-43-5. You've got 20% of a 95-5 Sagamore. And then you've got 20% of a 95-5 Bardstown. And it says a French oak, lightly toasted, heavy char finish. But like I said, I don't have the years of what they are. I know that the Bourbon Junkies had a Sagamore bourbon. Believe it or not, Sagamore has done some things, I guess, with bourbon, but they're known to be a rye company, so they haven't released it. And I had some of it, and the Bourbon Junkies talked about it on one of their videos, and they said it was great. So when I heard that their double oak pick had Sagamore in it, I was hoping that it was the bourbon. Unfortunately, it wasn't, which was not a deal breaker. It was the rye, and I should have thought, okay, Sagamore rye. But anyway, all right, so getting to the nose. Yes, rye. You smell rye. Not overpowering. You do smell a nice oakiness, like it has some age on it. A little bit of like lemongrass. All right, that's pretty much it. All right, let's go into the palate. Spicy. Cinnamon spice. Spicy, cinnamon spice, touch of raisin, maybe a little bit of like plum, good mouthfeel. Yeah, plum, raisin, wow. Spice still there. And char. I'm getting a lot of char across the back. A lot of char. Let's go back into the nose. Yeah. That's rye. It's not an off-putting rye though. It's not like that dill note. It's more of like that maltiness that I talk about that I pick up sometimes in rye. Sometimes that little bit of raisin pops up in the nose. Lemongrass, heavy on the lemongrass. Yeah, that's it. All right, back into the palate. That's got a very nice mouthfeel. You get that raisin, you get that like a plum note, raisin note, maybe date note. You don't get like that toasted marshmallow note that I normally pick up in double oaks. It's not a heavy vanilla. It's raisin, dates, plums, oaky, a little bit of citrus, spice, cinnamon, and then it's just char across the back. That's a really good rye. All right, let me take a break. I got to clean because I want to give this bourbon a super fair shot. Let me clean, take a break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So now we're going to get into the bourbon. One thing I forgot to mention was how dark the rye was. The rye is actually a slight bit darker than the bourbon, and the bourbon does have some darkness to it. Anyway, one thing that I found on this thing was one note that I've never picked up in a bourbon before. I've heard people say it, but I've never picked it up in a bourbon before. Let's see if it comes out of the glass tonight. All right, let's get into the nose. Yeah, it's there. It's there. It's Thanks for checking out the channel. Now I would love for you guys to go over to bourbondropstore.com. You can get all of the latest and greatest bourbon news. Don't forget to check out the blog. It's got recommendations for all classes of bourbon drinkers. And you can get this heavyweight hoodie. I know it's getting hot, but you can also get this black bourbon drop tee. Now, I've got some new products on the channel. You guys check out these new flasks. I think they will make a great addition to any round of golf or any event. Honey Bunches of Oats cereal and Honey Nut Cheerios, but more concentrated on the honey. It's got a slight bit of a berry note in there. It's got a heavy, super heavy, like creamy vanilla note, but it's got like this kind of almost a little bit like what I get out of Amburana. So Amburana finish is typically like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. This is more along the lines of like Honey Bunches of Oats, Honey Nut Cheerios, maybe even like when you open a fresh bag of Frosted Flakes. Heavy on the honey. Wow. All right, let's get this thing on the palate. That's got such a velvety mouthfeel. That cereal stays from the mid to the back. It's very sweet up front. It's almost got like this Swedish fish, cinnamon red hot thing going on. So just think of cinnamon red hots, Swedish fish, a little bit of like Honey Nut Cheerios, Honey Bunches of Oats. And this actually, I thought that the rye was going to finish with a little more leather and the bourbon would finish with more char. I mean, the rye would finish with more leather and the bourbon would finish with more char. But it's actually reversed. The rye finishes with more char and the bourbon finishes with leather, and the bourbon has one excellent mouthfeel. Let me give you the rundown on what's in the bourbon. All right, so this is how they did the bourbon. So the bourbon is 50% of a 78 10-12 Bardstown Bourbon Company, 30% of a 80-10-10 TDC, and then a 20% of 70-20-10 New York Finger Lakes Wheated. Oh, that was one thing I forgot to mention too. So this is actually composed of a slight bit of wheated bourbon and more rye bourbon. So you could kind of consider this like a 4 grain, maybe not a true 4 grain, just a blended straight bourbon. And it says it has a light toast, heavy char American oak. So that's the rundown on that. All right, let's get back into the nose one more time. Yeah, more of that cinnamon Swedish fish comes out on the palate now. Still, I still got that Honey Bunches of Oats, Honey Nut Cheerios in there. Maybe a light tea note. Maybe a slight bit of ethanol. And see, when I tasted them the first night and I got that Honey Bunches of Oats, Honey Nut Cheerios, that note on the nose and the palate, I started to think, well, maybe they had some younger stuff in here and they blended it well, but blended it and toasted it, and it kind of still shines through a little bit. But I don't know if that's the case. I really don't. I don't know if it's the wood. I don't know what it is, because I'm not getting those sharp, grainy notes. All right, let's get back into the palate. Yeah, oh wow. I like this. This takes you on a ride. This is vanilla up front, cinnamon spice in the mid, Swedish fish up front. Then it's got like that little bit of hint of vanilla. Then it's got that cereal grain note. It's kind of like it's like it's doing this, like it's back and forth, back and forth. I really like it. If I had to pick one over the other, I'm more of a bourbon guy anyway, except for when it comes to the JD SBBPs. To me, the ryes have surpassed the regular bourbons these days. But anyway, I would definitely have to go with the rye. Neither one of these are bad picks, so let's get into the breakdown. These are picks. So they are not on your shelf, but if you see these double oaks on the shelf, I suggest picking them up. Are they worth the chase? That is, like I said, I'm stingier this year, man. I'm stingier this year. Are they worth the chase? No. Are they definitely worth picking up? Yes. Are they worth retail? So I bought them as a bundle pack, $139.99, basically 70 a piece. I would have to say the double oaked rye, maybe around, I would be happier to see it between 55 and 60. The double oak bourbon, 60, 70. They are I am really leaning towards that double oak bourbon. Both of them come in at 108 proof. I'm assuming that is the proof that Pursuit United likes to put out. So you guys know I can be a proof hound at times. A lot of times when they start to get up in that price range, I start to look for more proof too. I think these are at an excellent proof. Who are they for? At 108, I would definitely say an intermediate to experienced bourbon drinker. I would not give these to a new bourbon drinker or someone that's, hovering around that, 93, 90, maybe 95 proof. Will they always be on the bar? Unfortunately, Kevin's picks do not last long. Anything with S&W pick on the side tends to go. I will try to keep these on the bar. I know I won't be able to go back and get them. If I see the other double oak picks, especially the bourbon, I will definitely try to keep that one on the bar. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head it to a draw. Till next time.